wasn't something that was acceptable?
Well, you know, that Nat Perrin and David Levy were very helpful because they sort of formed a shield between us and all those people who got worried about the fact that two people loved each other. You know, it was so awful. I used to kid around. If they wanted me to ad-lib a little promo for the show, I would say, you know, something to the effect that, you know, my name's Gomez Adams, my wife Letitia and I are the only well-adjusted couple on television. And fact is, we were. I mean, let's stop and think about it. It was weird. You know, much of television was a kind of fairy tale. You know, we sort of loosened people up a little bit to look at life as it is. I mean, we didn't all get here by the stork, you know. There are just not that many storks. So, you know, I'm just for truth in advertising, that's all.
Just to give us an idea of how long we need to do our Q&A, how many of you have questions?
Was that the answer to that question?
I think it was, actually. I think it was a pretty good answer.
Yeah.
How many of you have questions that you'd like to ask, Mr. Astin? Okay, so we have a lot of questions. You want to go ahead and start taking some audience questions?
Sure. Are you all out of questions?
I am actually not out of questions,
No,
but I know we need to get you out.
No, that's fine. No, let's, I'm just kidding around.
Great, let's start right here in the black t-shirt. Yes?
What was it like to work on West Side Story?
On West Side Story? Well, it was, for me, it was a lot of fun because Rita Moreno sprained her ankle. And so we had to rehearse that scene in the gym over and over for about 5 or 6 weeks. I think I was hired for 1 or 2 weeks, but it extended to quite a few weeks. And in those days, the salary I got for that was such a bonanza for me. And the fact that I got all those extra weeks of employment. And with 2 little kids, one was born actually after I did the filming and before the picture was released, and the other had been born a year before. So 2 little guys, and these are 2 kids of mine that people aren't as familiar with as they are with Sean and Mac, but these are David and Alan, and so their mother got help for these 2 kids because I did West Side Story, and Rita hurt her ankle. Thanks, Rita. But it was a big thrill. I had seen the show at the Actors Fund benefit in New York when it was done, because I was in a Broadway show at that time, and members of the cast told me later that the best show they ever had was that Actors Fund benefit, and I'm sure it was. It was really an exciting evening. And so I loved that show. I had never had any thought that I would play Glad Hand. I didn't think I was right for it, actually. And I decided in order to get the part, I had to walk in as that character when I did my reading. And so that's what I did. And I think Bob Wise, I think he thought that's who I was, because no other part like that came along, and I never worked for him again. But it was actually on the old laser disc of West Side. He talks about my audition, in fact. But it was a big thrill to be part of that. It was my first Hollywood movie, actually. I used to say it was my first movie, but I did 2 days on a film in New York, and I remember one of the magazines, like Outre or one of them, was interviewing me, and I said, you know, my first movie was West Side Story. And they said, hey, John, what about The Pusher? And that was really my first movie. Well, actually, my first movie for release. I did Army Signal Corps films, too. Which I'll talk about later, but not now. Anyways, they were interesting. But yeah.
How about right over there, right in? You, sir? Yes. Yep, you. Yes.
For one, I am a very big fan. And
Ever worked on?
yeah.
The one I'm doing right now. No, that's it. I can't pick favorites, really. Who said that?
It was reported back when you were doing stage productions that you often toured around in your van.
That we toured in the van, but this report said we slept in the van too.
You specifically, actually.
I?
It's
No.
on the internet.
Well, you know the internet. No, that, I never, to the best of my recollection, slept in the van. And if I thought I was going to sleep, because I was driving, I would pull over. No, that's just false. You know, there was no room in the damn van to sleep, you know, unless you slept in the driver's seat, which was not recommended. Let me think. I don't remember any of it. I'm kidding. Do you know what the word bedight means? Anybody know the word bedight? B-E-D-I-G-H-T? Yeah.
Decked out.
Yeah, dressed. Okay. I just wanted so everybody knew, you know, what it would mean. Bedight is really, implication is decked out. Yeah, good definition. Are you a teacher?
I do Edgar Allan Poe audiobooks.
Oh, yeah? Why don't you give us a little poem? Okay. This poem is called El Dorado. Gaily bedight, a gallant knight, in sunshine and in shadow, had journeyed long, singing a song in search of El Dorado. But he grew old, this knight so bold, and o'er his heart a shadow fell as he found what the hell is it? Oh, as he found no ground that looked like El Dorado. And as his strength failed him at length, he met a pilgrim shadow. Shadow, said he, where can it be, this land of El Dorado? Over the mountains of the moon, down the valley of the shadow, ride, boldly ride, the shade replied, if you seek for El Dorado. That's it. Of course, the idea in that poem is it's the journey that counts. There isn't really a pot of gold at the end. At the end, you die. But that just sort of like what I was saying before. Each day is important, no matter how tough it is. You know, over the mountains of the moon, down the valley of the shadow, ride, boldly ride, the shade replied, if you seek for El Dorado. And Poe's life was very much like that. He lived in poverty. He had so much tragedy, but he continued to write. He wrote, he wrote, he wrote. He didn't stop writing. He used everything that happened in his life to continue to create. And so he created tremendous value out of what might have been a miserable existence. But he lived and he wrote, and he understood that, he knew that, which is why he kept on writing.
Beautiful, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, they were very, very nice. They're very nice. I enjoyed the company that I kept while I was doing that. Buddy Ryan actually he sort of came out of Harry Anderson and Reinhold Wiege, who created the show. They had this sort of idea of somebody that I had done an episode of the show as a different character, and they thought, hey, how about if I'm Harry's father and so forth. And so okay, what's behind this character? And so I went deeply into my own personality and life and developed something for that. And for me, it was one of the most satisfactory experiences I ever had. I really like that character. I'd love to do that character in a TV show today. It'd be a lot of fun. My wife, of 22 years, who's sitting out there, when we first started dating, she went to see one of those shows and the filming of it, and she said, how come you get paid so much just to do yourself? So I looked at her and said, I'm feeling much better now.